Welcome. Israel and Iran are at an all-time high in the Middle Eastern conflict. After Iran fired 300 drones and missiles toward Israeli land, the Israeli military retaliated by launching a massive strike on Iran, Syria, and Iraq. According to reports released early Friday morning, Israeli airstrikes were carried out on several Iraqi, Syrian, and Iranian cities, towns, and cities, including Isfahan and Tabriz in Iran, Baghdad, Mosul, and Erbil in Iraq, and Suwaida and Dara in southern Syria.
Considering the apparent failure of Russian S-300 air defense systems against Israeli strikes, what implications might this have for the future of military alliances in the Middle East?
These strikes were carried out by Israel. Along with these specifics, the presence of Russian defensive systems in the areas that Israel had attacked was the most astonishing aspect of the attack. But the towns that were targeted by the attacks did suffer tangible harm. The first place where Russian defense systems were unable to completely ward off Israeli attacks was in Isfahan, Iran. Using satellite imagery, open-source researchers in Isfahan were able to piece together the location of a Russian S-300 anti-aircraft battery, a formidable air defense system. Fighter planes, F-14s, were stationed at the airfield. The 8th Shikari camp, which is located close to Isfahan and protected by S-300 air defense systems, was the home of the Iranian Army's F-14 Tomcat fighter jet squadron. Israeli airstrikes were the first to target this S-300 protected Iranian military installation. It is well known that the Iranian military base in Isfahan was damaged due to the fact that the Russian-made air defense systems and missiles did not entirely intercept these drone strikes. Damage to the Iranian S-300 PMU-2 strategic surface-to-air missile battery in Isfahan appears in new satellite imagery following the Israeli attack. Still resting on its radar pedestal was a damaged 92 N-60 target engagement radar, as seen in the photographs.
Given Iran's claims that their hangars were empty of F-14 fighter jets during the Israeli attack, do you think this suggests foreknowledge and preparedness, or is it merely a stroke of luck?
From a military capabilities standpoint, the incident highlights Iran's serious shortcomings in air defense, especially in comparison to the sophisticated weapon systems and tactics employed by the Israeli military. Satellite images revealing damage to the S-300 systems prove that the Israeli operation was successful, demonstrating the superior intelligence and UAS capabilities of Israel in penetrating and neutralizing high-value targets. This shows that Israel can carry out pinpoint military operations within enemy territory and that Iran is vulnerable. Bypassing the S-300 systems was a victory for Israel, proving that they can overcome advanced air defense shields that could be confronted in larger regional wars. A deterrence impact on enemies with comparable systems may result from the knowledge that these defenses might not be impenetrable against Israeli methods. However, Iran is not the only country with consequences. The Israeli invasion of Iranian airspace is a watershed moment in geopolitical history since it exposed the vulnerabilities in Iran's defenses. The regional power dynamics could be affected if this weakens Iran's perceived defensive strength, which could harm ties with both regional and global countries. Given the ineffectiveness of the air defense systems provided by Russia against Israeli attacks, it could indirectly affect relations between Russia and Iran. If this happens, Iran may feel pressured to build up its air defense capabilities more quickly.
How do you think Israel's ability to penetrate heavily defended Iranian airspace will influence Iran's strategy in beefing up its own air defense capabilities?
Either by developing its own indigenous defense technology or by seeking out advanced technologies from other allies. Still, Iran probably doesn't have the resources to devote to military development right now. This makes the installation of Russian-made air defense systems at Iranian air bases seem like an ultimatum. The fate of Iran will be decided by the inadequate Russian defensive systems. Isfahan air base's S-300 defense systems were damaged, seemingly sealing Iran's doom. However, more information surfacing from this air station indicates that Iran's situation has significantly worsened. According to local sources, the Iranian military base's runways were also damaged by Israeli drones. Iranian authorities asserted that the air base's hangars were empty of F-14 fighter jets when the attacks occurred. The air facility allegedly serves as the Iranian military site from which Israel has been targeted by over 300 drone and ballistic missile attacks, according to international media sources. This action showed Iran that the Mossad could covertly target Iran's nuclear and military installations, where the Iranian government was planning an attack, without drawing attention to the fact that Israeli forces were involved. So, even with Russian defenses in place, Israel has demonstrated that it can strike any part of Iran. The assaults in Tabriz, Iran, were evidence of this.
With the shift of pro-Iranian proxies moving their military supplies post-Israeli strikes, do you think this will lead to a significant change in the way these groups operate within Syria?
The Iranian army's bases near Tabriz were reportedly damaged as well, according to recent sources. Iranian authorities have reported the sighting of quadricopter drones in Tabriz's airspace. The presence of Russian defensive missiles in this town has also been suggested. Reports indicate that Israeli attacks have succeeded in penetrating the S-300 air defense systems manufactured by Russia in Iraq and Syria, in addition to Iranian territory. According to Syrian news outlets, Israeli planes attacked Syrian military installations in the southern governorates of Daraa and Suwaida on Friday morning. Local news sources have reported that airstrikes in the southern Syrian province of Daraa destroyed Syrian army radar stations between Karta and Isra. According to the Syrian opposition news website Daraa 24, a military battalion was attacked by Israeli jets near the town of Karfa in the province of Daraa in the south. According to Rami Abdurrahman, who heads the opposition War Monitor Syrian Observatory for Human Rights in the UK, 6 Israeli jets headed east after entering Syrian airspace and being detected by radar. Israeli troops have stunned the world by successfully eliminating Iranian military supplies in Syria through drone strikes. Nevertheless, the Russian S-300 air defense systems are placed in these Syrian settlements that Israel is targeting. Areas under Iranian control and protected by Russian air defense systems in Syria have proven to be open to Israeli attacks, as we have witnessed.
In light of Israel targeting structures in Baghdad allegedly housing Kataib Hezbollah meetings, what are the broader implications for Israeli-Iraqi relations and stability in the region?
The armed organizations backed by Tehran fear Russia, as shown in breaking news reports following the strikes. These reports showed that pro-Iranian proxies were transferring military supplies from the Syrian airbase Aleppo and the weapons stores in Deir ez-Zor to other locations. The armed proxies allegedly feared Israeli attacks on their Syrian airbases, which is why this happened. The situation in the Iraqi settlements, which were also struck by Israeli strikes, was equally extraordinary, comparable to that in Syria. Israeli warplanes attacked Iraqi forces loyal to Iran for the first time. According to reports, a building located in the southern part of Baghdad, the capital of Iraq, was the target of the Israeli strikes. There were rumors that members of the pro-Iranian armed group Kataib Hezbollah were meeting in secrecy before the assault on this structure. According to subsequent reports, the meeting of Kataib Hezbollah members was disrupted when Israeli airstrikes hit this structure. Few data regarding the casualties were disclosed following the building attack. Russia, which has sway and supplies military aid to these regions, was the first to respond to Israel's strikes in Iran, Iraq, and Syria. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stated on Friday that in response to allegations of Israeli retaliation strikes against Iran, Russia has made it plain to Israel that Iran does not want tensions to escalate.
How do you interpret Russia's diplomatic response to the airstrikes, and what do you think President Putin's silence suggests about Russia's position on Israel's military operations?
Sergei Lavrov underlined that representatives and heads of state from Russia, Israel, and Iran had phone discussions in which Moscow's stance was articulated. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, became the center of attention after his remarks. Putin has not yet commented definitively on the matter, though. The Israeli strikes on Syria and Iran, which aim to undermine Russian air defense systems, have left Putin's thoughts on the matter unclear. An important turning point in military conflicts in the Middle East was marked by the Israeli airstrikes on Isfahan and the subsequent failure of the S-300 systems to prevent them. This incident affects future defense plans. Consequently, Putin is anticipated to give this matter due thought.
Thank you for watching the full video. We are Rio G Media. Our only job is to keep our finger on the pulse of the war. Please write in the comments if you have thoughts on the questions we ask. If you want to support us, just subscribe and like the video.